Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll be learning how to add group chat functionality in our existing real-time chat application that we have built previously. This is going to be a second part of the video. Now, if you have not watched my previous video of real-time chat app using Appwrite in Flutter, then you'll find difficulties in proceeding to this video. So if you have not watched it, then you should watch that video first and then come to this video. Now if you have already watched this video, then you are good to go. In this video, mainly we are going to be adding group chat functionalities. First, we'll start by updating our old packages, and then we'll build a UI for our group chat, and then we'll write all the functions for creating, reading, updating and deleting the message inside a specific group, and we'll be also giving the functionality for the user to either update or delete the message, and also the admin of the group can update or delete the message. And when the user sends a message inside a group, all the users in the group will be notified that this user has sent a message inside this group, and there will be an explore page where users can join public or open groups, and all the things that we are going to do will be happening in real time. Means if a user sends a message in a specific group, and it will be reflected to all the users instantly. So let's continue with this exciting project. This is the previous code that we have written in our previous video for communicating between two users. All the packages have a newer version, so we are going to be upgrading all the packages. For that, just open the terminal inside VS Code and type Flutter outdated. Now here it's telling what are the latest version that are available for all the packages. We need to simply run this command flutter pub upgrade dash dash major dash versions. If we run this command, then it will upgrade all our old packages. So now it just upgraded some of our packages to the stable versions. Now let's try to run and test our application. So here we have two devices ready. Let's turn on from VS Code and one from terminal. So let's use Flutter run. So this device is an actual physical device. We'll be communicating from this device to this device. Let's allow the notifications. Now we need to log into our account. Let's log in, enter the phone number along with the country code and enter the OTP. Submit. So here it's loading our existing profile. Now let's also log in here. Enter the phone number. Now let's send OTP. Enter the OTP. Now here we need to fill our profile because this is a new account. Let's save and also continue here. Now currently we don't have any chats. Let's try to send some chat from this account. Now here we are getting null is not a subtype of string. It might happen that in some cases the name is set to null, like this one. In that case it's failing to read the data. So for that, what we can do, at the place where it's reading the data, we can assign to empty string or no name. It was inside our search users page. So let's open search users. It's showing the name and the phone number. So if it does not exist, then we'll set to no name, and if phone number is not there, in that case we'll just be showing empty string. Now let's try to search for the users. So here we are getting all the user. Currently we want to send message to this device, so let's select this number. It's showing offline. Let's add some message. and we are also receiving the notification that this person sent you a message. So everything is working fine. Now if we read this message, it's also working with the blue tick. Let's also send a message from here to here. So the chat part for sending chats between user to user is working fine, and we are having no problem. So here we are having no problem. It means everything is correct. But now we need to add the group messaging part where users can create groups and chat with others. This was now all these things were taught in the previous video. If you simply missed the previous video, then I would recommend you to watch the previous video first and then come to this video where we are going to be adding group chats to this chat application. So let's start with the UI. Here we want to have separate UI for direct messages and group chats. For this, what we are going to do, inside our home.dart file, here we are having a body of consumer, this one. We can wrap this scaffold with a widget that will be our default tab controller, and here we need to provide the length. It will be 2, and after our app bar actions we are going to be having one more property. This will be our bottom, and inside bottom we'll be having a tab bar, and here we'll be having 2 tabs. So the text will be direct messages and another one will be group messages. Now if you view, now we can see that here we are having a different UI. Now what we want, when we are in direct messages tab, it should show us the messages between one user to another user, and when we are on this tab it should show group messages. What we can do, we need to wrap this with a widget. This will be tab bar view and it will have the property of children's. So our full consumer will go inside here. Here the consumer is ending, so here will end the list. But since here we are having the length as 2, we need to provide 2 items. For now, let's just use a text as group messages and save it. Now when we are in direct messages, it's showing us all the chats. Now when we are in group messages, it's showing us the group messages. What we want, when you click on the plus button, here we get the option to search for any phone number. We also want to give the user to create a new group. So for that, what we want to do, inside our search users page, after we are having the search box for enter phone number, here inside our app bar, below this we'll have one more button. This will be the button for creating a new group. First, let's just increase the height to somewhat 110, and here we are having the row. After this row we are having a container, and inside container we are having a child row. So what we are going to do here, we'll wrap this container with a widget that will be our column widget, and after this container we'll be having a list type. Let's give the title as text create new group. Let's add an icon in trailing so that it will look something like this, and in leading we'll have an icon of icons.group add outline. Now when we click this button, we'll be creating a new group. So for that we need to open our Appwrite console. Here we need to create one more collection. This will be our groups collection, so let's name it as groups, and here we need to add some attributes. First one will be string admin, the user ID of the admin, so let's make it 255, and this will be required. Then string group underscore name, this will be the name of the group. String group description, this will be for group description. String of image, this will be the group icon image, so we are not making this required. And boolean, whether the group is public or not, so here we are creating a attribute for is public. Default value will be true, and we need to also keep a track of all the members. So for that we'll be having a relationship, but one thing that we cannot search inside the relationship list when we are using query.equals. At that moment we cannot search it inside relationship, so it will be a better option to create one more string of array. This will be members. Let's make it 255 each and create. Here we'll be storing the user ID of the members, and we need to also join the data of the users. So it will be better to use a relationship and also load the data from the user data collection. So for that we'll use one-way relationship. It will be of user data. It will be many to many, because many users can belong to many groups and many groups can contain many users. That's the thing. We'll be setting it as null for now. Let's create it. Now if we call the user data with the specific index, then we can load all the data for this specific user, simply reading this attribute. Now this was for our groups. We need to create one more collection. This will be our group messages collection, where we are going to be storing all the messages sent inside the group. So let's name it as group messages. And one thing we forgot, that inside setting we need to add permission so that all users can create, read, update, and also when create, read and update. And inside group messages we'll be creating an attribute. First one will be string group ID, the ID of which group the message has been sent. This will be required. Then the actual message, this will be also required. Then the sender ID, this will be also required. And date time, timestamp when the message was sent, this will be also required. A boolean attribute is image, so that we can identify whether the message is an image or not. This will be also required. And last, we need to also load the profile data for the user who has sent the message. So for that we need to have some kind of relationship so that we can simply join the data when we are reading the message. So for this we're having a one-way relationship with user data, so that we can load all the user data with a simple with the result that we are receiving. This will be also many to many, because group message can contain many users. Group message can contain many users data, and users data can belong to several group messages. And in case of deletion, we'll just set everything to null. Let's just create it. Now we have created the two collections. First, let us write the functions for creating a group and updating a group. Before writing functions, it will be better that if we create the models first. So inside the models folder, let us create one more file. This will be our group model dot. Let's create a class, name it as group model. Here we'll be having all the attributes. Here we'll be adding 7 attributes. First one will be string admin, then string group name, string group description, then string image. This may be null, so let's add a question mark. Boolean is public, list of string members, and list of user data. The user data contains in the user data.dart model that we have created in our previous video. This one will be user data only. Now we need to initialize all the constructor. We will be requiring the group ID. So let's add a string group ID. Now total we have 8 attributes. Let's initialize the constructor. We'll make this as required. This dot group ID. Similar to this, we'll add more like group name, group description, image is public. This one is not required, so the image is not required, so we can remove this required. And members and user data, group model from map. You will be getting the data in form of string, dynamic map, and then we'll return it in form of group model. Group ID will be inside map of, so it's always inside $ID. Group name, from here just copy the attribute name correctly, otherwise you might get some problem. Like it was group underscore name, here this was group underscore DSC, and admin was inside admin, is public like this, dot form map of members. If we don't have any members, then we'll return empty list. Also similar to this members, user data will be also similar, but instead of members, this will be user data, and instead of list of string, it will be list of user data. Now we have written the factory function, and also we have created the model. Now let us just create one more model. This one will be our group message model dot dart. Now here we are having 6 attributes, but we'll be having 7 attributes because we need to also store the message ID for every specific message. So let's do it. Similar to our previous one, we'll create a class, name it as group message model. First we'll be having string of message ID, string of group ID, then message sender ID timestamp, string of message, string of sender ID, and timestamp will be in form of date time, so we'll use date time, timestamp, then isImage and user data. So isImage will be a boolean, this may be null, so we'll just use a question mark, and in user data we'll be returning list of users. So here we'll be having list of user data, it will be user data, the relationship. We have created all these 7 attributes. Now we need to initialize the constructor. First will be message ID, then group ID, then message, sender ID, timestamp, and is image or not, and then the user data. The image is not required, it may be null. Now we need to write the factory function to convert JSON to group message model. Let's create a factory function, group message model from map. Here will be receiving map of string, dynamic. String is the key and dynamic is the value. Here will return group message model. Message ID will be inside map of $ID. Group ID will be inside. Just make sure with the spelling every time. Just make sure that spellings are correct when we are reading the JSON data. This will be inside map of message. This will be inside map of sender ID, and this will be inside map of timestamp. But user data will be different. This will be like this. So we can just copy this from here. We have created both the models, and now we can write the function for creating and updating a group. So inside Appwrite controllers, we'll go to the bottom of the page. Here let's start writing the function to create a new group. When we create a new group, we are going to simply create and add a new document to this groups collection. So first we need to just copy the collection ID and make sure that users have permission to create, read and update. At the top we are initializing like this. So here we'll have one more collection. This will be our group collection. Make sure you have copied the group collection ID from here like this, and now we can paste it. We have one more collection. It was our group message collection. Again, let's open the collection, copy the collection ID and paste it here. When we call this string, we are simply calling this ID. Now let's create a future boolean create new group, make it async, use try catch to handle any exceptions. So let's use await databases dot create document. Database ID was inside DB. Collection ID was inside group collection. Document ID, since we are creating a new document, we don't have, so we need to create a unique document ID. And in our data, we need to provide the JSON that we need to create. First, here we need to provide admin, group name, description, image is public, and we need to provide all this data. Let's just copy it and paste it here. It will be more better. Now first one is admin. Admin, we need to, for this we need to expect the data to pass to this function. We need to require the current user is going to be creating a new group, so here we'll use required current user. Admin will be our current user. Group name, we need to also accept that. From here we need to also provide the type. This will be string current user, and this will be string group name. It will be inside group name like this. Group description, we need to also accept that. Let's make it as group tsc, and also image. So this one is open. For now we are not adding any members, so members only contain the current user. Also for this user data, only the current user will be there, because when we are creating the group, not other members will be there. Other members are not going to be there. And here we are going to be adding one more, required boolean. Okay, so this will be optional, so it will be boolean question mark is open, and nothing else. After we create a document successfully, we'll be returning true, and in case we fail to create a document, we'll just print failed to create new group, and also the error return false. Now we need to simply call this function and pass all these values to create a new group. Let's also write a function. Now here let's also write a function to update the group. For our shortcut, let's just copy this function and paste it here. Let's make it as update existing group. Here we need to pass all this data, that's correct. Here we'll be also requiring the string group ID, and the document ID will be the group ID that we are providing. Since here we are patching the data and all the data will be similar, but we don't require to pass the members and the user data, because they will be already there present, and these data are going to be changed, and also the admin is not required. Only these 4 attributes are required. Rest attributes we can remove it. We don't need current user, and this will not be create document, it will be update document. Now we have written the functions for creating and updating the group. Now another function we need to write so that we can add members to the group. In case of add members, we are simply going to add the user ID who is willing to join, or whom the current user has sent a group invite, has joined the group. In that case, we are going to simply add the user ID of that user to our members list and also our user data list. So now let's create a UI for creating a new group. Inside our views folder, we'll create one more file. Inside our views folder, inside home, instead of this group message, since we are using provider, all the data that we read from our Appwrite database will go through the provider first, and then we are going to read the data. So for that, we need to create a provider first. Here, let's create a group message provider dot dart. We'll have a class group message provider extends change notifier. This is from Flutter foundation.dart. And then we'll have a list of group model. This group model is from the group model that we have created. Join groups, list of group model, join groups. This is going to be an empty list for now. And for reading all the groups that we have joined, we need to call get join groups, and in response we'll be returning this join group. So here we need to write all the groups that the current user is joined, but before that we need to also read it from our Appwrite database, that which are the groups that the current user is currently joined. So let's write that function, read all the groups current user is joined. Now this is going to be a very simple function of future. The return type will be of document list. It may be null, so let's add a question mark. Read all groups. Here we need to simply pass the user ID for running the query. Current user ID, make it async. Wrap it with try catch for handling exceptions. First we'll use await database dot get document. Database ID was inside DB. Collection ID was our group collection. And here we'll use databases dot list document. Database ID was DB. Collection ID was our group collection. And this will load all the groups, but we don't need all the groups. We only require the groups where the query matches query dot equals where members is equal to the current user. Make sure that the spelling is correct with the attribute that you have inside Appwrite console, otherwise you will have problems. And also query dot limit for 100. Let's make it as 100 only. After this we'll simply return result, and in case of any exception we'll return null, and we'll also print what's the error, like error on reading group and the error itself. Now inside provider we'll be calling this function load all the groups that the current user is joined. So inside this group message provider we need to read all the groups the current user is joined, and then update it in provider. We'll create a function load all group data. Will be requiring this string user ID, and then we'll be storing the result. It will be inside await. For using await we need to make this function async. Read all groups, the function that we have created. Current user ID will be the user ID. If results is not equal to null, it means it have some data. In that case we need to convert this join group to the result that we have. And for each document, here we are expecting the data in form of group model. Then we need to convert each of the data to the JSON to the group model. So here we'll use group model from map function, and our data was inside e data, and at the end we need to convert all of them to list. Instead of e data we can simply use e.data. And now we are saving the result that we are getting, also converting in type of group model. And now after we have completed this step, we can simply notify our listeners the changes that had happened. Now if we call this function load all group data, it will fetch and load and save inside the provider that how many groups the current user joined. Now let's create the UI for creating a new group. So here we'll use this UI for both the purpose of creating and updating the group. Here in views folder, let's create a new file, create or update group dot, make a stateful widget, create or update group. Here we'll be having a scaffold. Here we'll be having a form key. Let's name it as underscore group key, and two text editing controller, one for the name and one for the description. Boolean, whether the group is going to be public or not, and image ID and user ID. For uploading and saving the image, we'll copy the same logic that we have used in case of saving the user profile like this and update profile. We'll copy this functions in here, just copy like this and paste it here. We'll be using this later on, but for now just import this, all of this function. So we'll be needing to import the file picker package, and also we'll be having a file picker result. It will be underscore file picker result. We need to make this nullable. Also import file from dart.io and input file is from Appwrite. We'll be calling these two functions. Now we need to link this with our main route. Inside our main route, here it will be, let's name it as modify group, because that same route we'll be using for creating and updating the group info. Now we need to import the package. When we click on this create group, it should redirect us to create or update group UI. So we need to copy this part, and inside our search users, when we click on this list style, create new group, on tab we'll use navigator dot push named. Name of our route was this. We need to also pass the context. Now if we click here, it's taking us to the UI. Currently we don't have anything in the UI, so it's showing white screen. Let's have an app bar of app bar. Title text will be create group. Here we are going to be having a very simple UI. In our body we'll have a column will have children's. Let's also work on the logic for updating the UI also. Since we are using named routes, we cannot pass the data directly from one widget to another. We need to pass them in form of arguments. So we are going to be having a map of key string, and also value of string. Let's name it as existing data that we are going to be passing in form of arguments. So it will be module route dot of context dot settings dot arguments. Since this data may be there or may not be there, so we need to make it nullable, otherwise it will give error. Let's make it nullable as much as possible. Map string comma string. So the key will be also string and the value is also going to be string. Now in case if you are having existing data, in that case we'll show update group, else we'll show create group. But first we need to check whether it's available or not. So if existing data is not equal to null, in that case it will be update group, else it will be create group. Now let's work on the UI part. So here we'll be having a text form field like this. Let's add some decoration, otherwise it's not looking so good. Let's wrap this text form field with a container and provide some decoration, and the color will be the secondary color. Now it's looking something like this. We need to copy the same container one more time. This time it will be our group description controller, enter group description. Let's save it. Now after this container, let's add a padding. Padding will contain a row. Row will have children's. Main axis alignment will be main axis alignment dot center, and we'll have a text is public group like this, and we'll have some styling, font size 16 and font weight to font weight dot bold, then a spacer, then a switch. The default value will be is public value that we have assigned to true, and on changed the value will be setting the is public value to the value that has been changed, and another sized box of width 8. Now it's looking something like this. Then a text, if it's public then it will show public, else it will show private, and some text decoration. Now we can find when we click this it's showing private, and when we click this it's showing public. In case of public, the group, anyone can join the group simply on the explore group page that we are going to create later on, but for now this is okay. And we need to also add the group image. So for this we will be having the UI at the top. Now our tip container will be having a stack, and stack will having children's. You will be having a container of height 200 and width double dot infinity, and will be also adding some decoration, just adding the color as key secondary color, and border radius is border radius dot circular 12. So it will look something like this, and inside this we will be adding the option for the user to pick the image for the group. Now if our file picker result is not equal to null, it means that user had already picked the file. So in that case we'll just use clip rect and pass the image. Image will be the file image, and it will be inside file picker dot files dot path dot first dot path, and if file picker result is not equal to null, in that case we will simply return null. And then we'll also be adding a position widget that will be used to identify that this image can be edited. So when we on click on the stack widget, it should open us the file picker. So let's swap it with gesture detector, and on tab we'll be opening the open file picker function that we have created, this one. So it will just open the file picker and pick a result and keep it inside underscore file picker result. Open file picker, this is the open file picker function. It will simply open the file picker and choose the result and store this result in underscore file picker result. Now let's click here. It's opening the file picker. So let's choose an image. It will be better if we use some kind of padding, and also we can pass a text group image like this. Here the cross-axis alignment will be cross-axis alignment dot start, and also we can add some padding in this gesture detector. So now it's okay. We have already linked the text editing controllers and also provided a validator that this cannot be empty also for this. Now here let's have a button for create group. In our bottom navbar, here we'll be having a sized box of height 55, and child will be elevated button. On press for now we are not going to pass anything, and in this child it will be a text create group. It is looking something like this. We'll be also adding some style like background color to our primary color blue and foreground color as white. Now it's looking something like this. Let's add some padding. Now it's okay. When we click on this create group, this is okay if we are creating group, but if you know that this widget will be used for both creating and updating, so we will be able to know whether this is a create group function or update group function if we pass the existing data. So we can use this option instead of create group, we can use this. If we have existing data, then it will be update group, and if we don't have existing data, then it will be create group. Now first, we have a form, so it will be better that if we wrap this padding with a form, and form key will be the key that we have written, it was group key. Now when we press this button, we need to first validate our group key. So if group key dot current state dot validate, we need to add a null check here. Now let's try to create group. Here we are getting the error when we are not providing any data. Now this will be for two cases. If we already have existing data, then we will be updating the data, and if we don't have existing data, then we'll be creating a new group. Inside our Appwrite controllers, we have already written the function for creating a new group and updating existing group. So we are going to be using both of them. We can only identify whether it's a create group or update group if we provide the existing data. So first, if we have existing data, it means if we have existing data not equal to null, it means we have some existing data. It means that we need to update the group data. So here we'll call first make this as async. Here we'll use await update existing group. You need to provide the group ID. For now, since we are passing this existing data in form of map string and string, so we can use any of our string like existing data. Let's name it as group ID, because we need to pass it like this, and if we don't have, we'll pass simply empty string. And group name will be the name that we have currently. It's inside group name controller dot text. Group description will be inside underscore group description controller dot text. And image, if we are uploading the image, then we'll be getting the image ID like this from here after we upload the profile image. So we need to also handle the logic for this. So image will be the image ID, and if it's not there, just add empty string. Now, but here we are not uploading the image yet, so we need to add one more logic like we have done in our chat page. Like here we'll have one more, that is if our file picker result is not equal to null, it means that we need to upload the profile image first, and then we will be having the image ID inside this variable. Now it was a boolean variable. After we have completed, it will return true or false, and here we need to also provide one more attribute, that was is open, means it's public or not. So it will be inside is public, and after we complete the execution for this function, we'll receive a boolean value. So we'll receive a value. If the value is true, it means everything was correct. So let's make it in curly braces, and if we have value, then everything was correct. We can simply show a scaffold messenger of context dot show snack bar, and snack bar will be the text group updated successfully, and we'll be also closing this page. So for that we'll use navigator dot pop context, and else we'll be also showing a snack bar. This will be cannot update group. This was the logic for updating. Now one thing we should remember, that if we are updating, the image may be there, the existing image may be there. So here we need to write one more property, that will be existing image. So if we don't have this, in that case we'll upload image ID, and if we don't have this, in that case we'll upload empty string. Now we need to pass this in the key of this. We'll do that later on, but now we have written the function for updating the group, and now here we need to write the function for creating a new group. If this was an if statement, this will be inside else statement. The full function will be similar. We can just copy this. So here we'll be using the create new group function. So you'll use await create new group. We need to pass the current user. So I don't know if we are storing the current user or not. Let's verify. So we are having a user ID variable, but we have not yet stored the current user. So let's create a init state function, and here we'll be using user ID to provider dot of context. Listen will be to false, get, and we need to also provide the return type. It will be of user data provider, and the data will be inside get user ID. Now we can easily get our user ID by accessing the user ID variable. Group name will be inside group name controller dot text. Group description will be inside underscore group description controller dot text. Image will be inside the image ID. This time we'll not be having the existing image, so we are not going to use existing image ID. And also whether the group is open or not, it will be inside is public. Similar to this logic, we are also passing a boolean value true or false. So if everything is correct, then it will pass true, else it will pass false. We can copy this logic here like this and add a dot and paste it. So here it will be 10 value. Then we'll show a snag bar group created successfully and cannot create group. Now let's open the console, and here make sure that all the users have permission to create, read and update. Yes, it's there. And also for group messages, all the users should have the permission to create, read, update and also delete. Now it's okay. Let's try to create a new group. So here we are getting bottom overflow. To fix this, inside the column that we have here, this one, we can simply wrap this column, or inside the padding we can wrap this with single child scroll view, and the bottom overflow will be fixed. Let's add some description. Let's create the group. Now here we are getting group created successfully. So let's verify with our database. Yes, so here it's creating a new group. Also we're having the group name, description, image, and also whether it's open or not. But it's not being able to add the members, user data and admin. Let's verify with the storage. It's also uploading the image correctly, so we are having no problem. The thing that we need to fix, that we need to provide the admin, members and user data, otherwise it will have some problem. I think that the current user ID didn't came, so for that it was the problem. Let's delete this document and let's create one more group. So here it's showing group created successfully. Let's verify with our database. Yes, now it's loading the admin. Previously, since we have added the user ID in init state, so it was not able to load the user ID. Now it's correct. It's showing the group name, description, members, and also in user data, it's having the user ID for the user who has created this document. Now we need to show all the groups where the user is the member or admin. So here what we are going to do, inside our home directory where we have written the code for our chat app using the consumer, this one. Now instead of this group message, since we are loading the data to our provider, and with the help of provider we'll be reading the data like this that we have written. When we call load all groups, it will read all the groups where the user ID is either the member or the admin, and then we'll be getting all the groups data. So here in our home.dat file, similar to this one, we'll be also having a consumer here. But before that, we need to add this group message provider inside our main.dat file. We need to tell that there is also another provider, that is group message provider, and if we initialize it in the main function, then it will be accessible to any of our widget. Now this consumer will be of return type of group message provider. Import the package. Let's use curly braces. We'll be getting the data for the groups that we are joined inside the get join groups. So if value dot get join groups is empty, in that case we'll return the text no groups joined. If we have some groups that we are joined, in that case we'll return a list view builder. Item count will be value dot get join groups dot length, and inside item builder we'll be having context and index. Here we'll be returning a list type. The title will be text of value dot get join groups for specific index dot group name. Now here it's showing no groups joined. Also we can make this in center like this, because we have not yet called the provider inside our init state. Here, like we are calling load chats, here we'll use one more provider dot off, and this will be for group message provider. Here we'll be calling the function dot load all group data. Here we need to pass the user ID. It will be inside current user ID. Now if we restart our app, here we are getting some error. It's saying type string dynamic is not a subtype of user data. We need to convert each of the data that we are receiving to the user data format. So for this, after we receive the data, then we need to pass it. Then we need to convert each of the data to the user data model. So for this we'll use map, and each of the data that we are having, we need to convert it to user data to map, and value will be inside E. Now let's try to restart. Now here it's showing the group name. It means everything is correct. Like this, for user data it will be like this, and similar to this we also need to change the group message model for user data. This will be like this. This will be like this. Now let's add some decoration. Here we are having the group name. Inside the leading, we can also provide the group icon. This will be similar like we did inside this chats where we are loading the data. So we can simply copy this for our shortcut and paste it here. Now this time the value for the group will be inside value dot get join groups dot for specific index, and it will be inside image. So if it's equal to empty string or if it's equal to null, in that case we'll return the default user image, else we'll return. We need to change this ID. Now it's okay. Let's save it. Let me verify whether I have an image or not. So here we are having an image, but it's not able to load the image. It might happen that we have done something wrong. So yes, we have not initialized the image. It was not compulsory, but we have also forgot to initialize it. So image will be inside map of image. Now let's restart our application. So yes, now it's loading the image. Now when we click on this, it should redirect us to group chat. So for that, let's create one more page. This will be group chat page. It will be a stateful widget. Let's name it as group chat page. Here, similar to our chat page, the app bar will be very similar. So if we copy the app bar logic like this and paste it here inside group chat page. So here first we'll be having a scaffold, and then we can paste the app bar, this logic. Now when we click on this group, it will be taking us to the group chat for this specific group. So we need to pass the group data, means we'll be requiring the group data like the group name, description and everything, so that we can read the messages for that specific group using provider. So for that, first let's just import the packages, and we'll not be having the receiver like this. We need to use model route and accept the group data. So here we will be creating a group model group data. It will be from model route dot of context dot settings dot arguments as group model. Just need to add a null check here, that like this. If group data dot image is equal to empty string or null, in that case we'll show the user png, else we'll show the group data image. Just call the network image provider, cache network image provider, and here we'll be having group data dot group name. If we group data dot group name, and this thing is not required for now, just remove it. So now when we click on this, it should redirect us to this group chat page. For that we need to link it in our main route. For that, inside our main.dart file, we need to add another route. It will be read/read group message. Here we'll pass the context to the group chat page. Now when we redirect the user to this route, it should redirect us to the group chat page. We were writing the UI in our home.dart file. Let's just open it. Here on list type, on click, on tap, we'll be using navigator dot push named. First we'll pass the context, and the name of our route was this read group message. When we click on this, so here we are not passing the arguments, so that's very much important, otherwise it will not work. So we need to also pass the arguments, and arguments is in form of group model. So to get the group model, it will be like this. Yes, so if we pass the index, this is the group model for specific index. Now let's try to restart. If we click on this group, it's taking us to the group chat for this specific group. Now here inside our group chat, we want to add an actions. We want to add a button here. When we press this, we will get the option to edit the group, add more members, or exit the group. So for that, in our app bar, you will be having the actions property. Inside actions, we'll be using an icon button. For now, let's give it to an empty function and icons.more for it. So when the user clicks this, we'll be giving a pop-up button. So for the pop-up button, what we need to do, first we need to wrap this with another widget. This will be pop-up menu button, and here we need to provide the item builder that is required. So let's use item builder, and in item builder, let's make it in curly braces. In item builder, we'll be having pop-up menu entry. We need to also provide the return type. It will be a return type of string, and here also we'll be having return type of list of pop-up menu entry like this. First one will be pop-up menu item. It will be a type of string. Let's specify it. Child, for now let's have an icon. For icons dot add group add outline. Now let's click here. So instead of having an icon button, it would be better that if we have a simple icon. Now if we click here, it's opening the pop-up, and we'll have this kind of pop-up multiple number of times. Let's wrap this icon. Let's wrap this icon with a row and have a sized box of width 8, and then the text add or Here we can say invite members. Let's test it. It's showing invite members. Similar to this pop-up menu item, we'll have some more. This will be edit group, and this will be exit group. We need to also change the icon. This will be for exit to app, and edit will have edit. Now if we click here, it's showing us all the three pop-up button. Now one thing to note, that only the admin will be able to edit the group. Rest admin will not be able to exit the group because he had created the group. And if the group is open, means it's public, then anyone can invite any members, and if the group is private, then only the admin can send group invite. So that's the thing that we are going to do. I know that here we don't have so many I know that here we are not adding so many logics, but we are only going to focus on this three logic. So first we should make sure that only this button is visible to the admin. So our data is inside group data dot admin is equal to the current user. So here we are not using the current user. So for that, let's use a final string current user. Let's initialize it to empty string. Inside init state, we'll call provider dot of context listen to false, and this will be a return type of user data provider. And here we can just call get user ID to get the user ID, and after getting the user ID, we'll set the data to current user. Let's make it as late. Now it's okay. So we'll do this if the group data dot admin is equal to the current user. In that case, we'll show this pop-up. Currently it's not showing the pop-up because the data inside provider is not loaded. Now it's showing us the exit group option because the admin of this group is the current user, and exit group option will be only available if group data dot admin is not equal to current user. Now let's see that the exit group option is not available here, and here the logic will be such: if group data dot is open, then everyone is going to get the option to invite members, or if that's private, then it should be group data dot admin is equal to current user. So it means that if it's public, then anyone can invite members, and if it's private, only the admin can invite members. Now let's see. So here we can see the buttons. Now let's write the logic for edit group first. We have already written the function for updating the group collection. Name of the function was update existing group. So when we click on this edit group, it should redirect us to the modify group page that we have created. This one, create an update page. So we need to redirect them to modify underscore group. Just copy this, and when the user from here press this button, here we can pass the property of on tap. On tap we can use navigator dot push named. We'll pass the context as well as the route. Now we are getting some error, so here we need to call the callback function, and then we need to pass it. Now if we click here, it's redirecting us to create group, and inside this create or update group widget, we are also passing the group data, existing group data, in form of map string and string. Here are some data that we are reading it, like we are passing the keys. So we need to pass the key in the same manner so that we can load the existing data. Now when we click on this, here we need to pass the existing data in form of arguments. Let's do that inside our group chat page. When we redirect the user, we need to pass arguments, and arguments will be the group data. Now it's okay. Let's try to edit the group. So we cannot pass the group data directly because we are only focusing on some keys. So we need to add those keys and only provide that value. Like we need to provide the key, group ID, image, and name and description will work. Only 4 keys we need to provide. So let's do that instead of sending the whole group data model. So inside our group chat page, here we'll pass the group, or we can say it as name. Name will be inside group data dot group name. ID will be group data dot group ID. Description will be group data dot group description, and the group image, let's make it as image, it will be group data dot image. Now these are the keys and the values that we are passing. Make sure that the spelling is correct for both the keys, otherwise we'll have key mismatch. So instead of group ID we are passing ID only, and images we are passing the image in image key, that's correct. But we are not setting the text editing controllers. So what we can do here, if existing data is not equal to null, in that case we'll set the text editing controllers like group description controller dot text will be inside existing data, and we are passing it in description. If there's nothing, we'll pass empty string, and group name controller dot text will be inside existing data, and we are passing it in name. If there's nothing, we'll pass empty string like this. We are passing name, description, ID and image, and here also we are passing name, description, ID and image. Now let's try to restart the application. So when we open this group and try to edit the group, we can find that it's loading the existing data like the group name, group description, but image is not getting loaded. We need to write some logic to handle the existing image. I think we have not written that. Yes, we have not written that. So if our file picker result is there, then we are showing the file picker result, and if it's not there, here we need to check whether we have an image or not. If we have an existing image, then we are going to show that existing image. If existing data is not equal to null and existing data dot image key is not equal to null and existing data of image is not equal to empty string, in that case only we'll show the image that we have, else we'll show null. Now let's save it. Let's try to restart the application. Now let's try to edit it. So here it's loading the existing image also. Simply first we are checking if it's null, and if an image key exists, in that case only we are returning the cache network image. Now let's try to update the data. We have already written the function and link it here. Like if its existing data is not null, in that case we'll update the data. Let's test if it's working or not. Let's first make it something else. Let's update the group. So here it's showing group updated successfully. Let's verify with our database. So yes, the group name description is getting updated. Now let's also verify whether we are able to change the group image or not. Let's see. So the group image is not changing. We need to do some changes. So now what we can do here, we can add more priority to the image ID. If image ID is not there, only in that time it will take the existing image ID, otherwise it will take empty string. Now we are giving it more priority. Let's try to edit it. Now it's showing group updated successfully. Looks like it has changed the image. Let's verify with our storage. Yes, it has changed the image. So if we restart now, you will find that the image got changed Since we have not yet connected the real-time feature with this, for that reason it is not getting updated instantly. We'll do that later on. Now let's try to make this image again the existing one. Now we have done the steps for creating a group and updating a group. We are also reading the groups where the user belongs. Here we can also show how many members are there in this group. It will be inside app bar, inside a group chat page, app bar. Here after the group name will have a text like we are having in chat page, like this one. Just copy this and paste it here. Here will be showing the members like 0 members or something like this. We need to show the members. If we check our database collection, here we are storing the list of members inside members. For now, Appwrite doesn't provide us the option to count the data inside relationship. For that reason, we have created a separate attribute naming it as members, where we are storing the user ID for the members who have joined the group. Now with the help of this members list, we can calculate how many members are present inside this group. Currently we are showing 0 members, but this will not be the case. It will be inside group data.members. It's a list of members. We can just use .length and we need to convert it to string. So just use toString. Now it's showing 1. It will be better that if we write another function inside constants. Let's create a new file. Let's name it as member calculate.dart. You will expect int. No, you will return string. Let's name the function as memcal. You will expect int members. Here, if member is double equal to 0, in that case we'll return no members. If members is equal to 1, then we'll return 1 member. If member, or we can return else, we can return $members. It can be less than 0 if we make it less than or equal to 0. If the number is negative, then it will be also showing no members. Now here where we are showing the 0, we are showing 1 for now. Here in the app bar, you will use memcal and you will pass group data.members.length. Now here it's showing 1 member and we have done our task. Now let's write the logic to send message inside the group. The UI will be very similar. So let's just copy the UI from the chat page that we have. We'll be using this UI only. So let's just copy it. So we were having an expanded widget. We were having a column expanded widget. And after this expanded widget, we are having where we are giving the option to either type a new message or upload an image. So let's do the similar thing. You will first have a column and expanded widget, and then we'll add this container. Inside the group chat in body, we'll have this similar UI. First we'll have the column will have children's, and then an expanded widget. For now, let's just have an empty container. We'll do that later on. And after this, we'll copy the same UI from here to here. And now we need to write the function to send a message inside the specific group, and also pick a file and send an image to the specific group. So for this, let's do the required changes. You will be having one text editing controller, that will be our underscore message controller, and one more text editing controller will be our message controller that will be using for editing the message. And for now we can simply uncomment these functions. So this will be message controller. Now if we open the UI, it's looking something like this, very much similar to our chat page UI that we have, this one. Now here we need to send new messages. For this we need to write the database functions first inside our Appwrite controllers. Now if we see, in every group anyone can send messages and only the current user and the admin can delete the message if they want. Editing will be only restricted to the user. Only the current user who has written the message can only edit it, and rest nobody can edit or delete, only they can read the message. So for this we'll be using the other collection, that is group message collection that we have created, and it has all these attributes. Just make sure that you have provided the permissions for this collection. Now we need to write the function. First will be send the message to the group. Let's name the function as send group message. For now we are not passing any arguments, but we'll use this later on. After we write the function, we'll know that which arguments are required and which are not. We'll use try catch to handle exceptions. For sending the message we need to create a message. Let's use await databases dot create document. Database ID was inside DB. Collection ID, this was our group message collection. Group message collection meaning this collection. Make sure that your collection ID is similar to the collection ID that we have created, like this. And document ID, since we are creating a document, will not have an ID, so you will use id.unique and the data that we are willing to pass. It has total 6 attributes, so we'll be requiring all of them. Let's just copy it and paste it here. First attribute will be our group ID. So for this we need to accept the group ID in arguments: string group ID, string message, string sender ID. The timestamp is not required, we'll calculate there. Is image or not? So bool question mark is image, and then the current user ID required string current user. Now we can pass the message will be inside the message that we are passing. Sender ID will be inside the sender ID, or we can have only one ID, like sender ID only will be the current user, so we don't need the current user to pass it again. Timestamp will be date time dot now. We need to convert it to ISO string, and this will be inside is image. If it's not, then we'll set it to false. And user data will be list of relationship, so we need to pass the list, and list will contain the sender ID. Now just format our document. Now we have written the function. In case of any error, we'll print error on sending group message, and let's also return it in form of boolean. In case we have sent the message, we can return true. In case we fail to send the message, we'll return false. Here we have written the function to send the group message. Now let's write the function to update the group message. Now for updating the group message, this will be very similar to this. Here it will be also a future boolean function. Let's name it as update group message. Let's make it async. Wrap it with try catch to handle any exceptions. For handling exceptions, and now we'll use await databases dot update document. Here database ID was inside DB. Collection will be our group collection, group message collection, and document ID. We need to receive the document ID. For this, let's accept the document ID in arguments doc ID, or we can say message ID. It will be the message ID, and here we need to also pass the data. Only the user will be only able to update the message, so we only need to pass the new message. The message will be the new message that we are passing, and rest we don't need to change anything else. And after we complete updating the document, we will return true, else we will just print error on updating group chat and also return the error, return false. Now the last function will be to delete the specific group message, the future delete group message. Just will be requiring the string message ID, make it async. You wrap it with try catch again for handling exceptions. You will use await databases.delete document. Database ID was inside DB, collection ID was group message collection, and our document ID was the message ID that we are accepting in form of arguments. So we don't need to return anything true or false for this. We can simply print error in deleting group message and also the error. Now we have written the three functions for creating, updating and deleting, but we have not yet written the function for reading the group message. So let's do that. Like we are doing for reading the chat messages with every specific user, like this, we were returning map of string list of chat data model. When we are reading the group chat, this will be also similar. Like first we need to load the data from database and then we need to create our own map with the group ID. In this case, we have created the key as the sender or the receiver, means the other user. In this case, the key will be the group ID and then we need to just add it to the chat. So one thing we can do, we can simply copy this function. It will be more better for us. And for reading all the group messages, and we are pasting this will be read group messages. This will be list of not chat data model, this will be group message model. Here we'll be requiring the user ID, that's okay. And our collection will be our group message collection. Queries where here will be only having a single list, that is query dot equals. So if we check the database, here we don't need this query dot equals because we are reading all the messages, and out of this we will be filtering out the messages which are belonging to the user. Here we will not be searching according to the user ID. Here we will let's pass list of string of group IDs. You will pass where query dot equals to the where the group ID is equal to the list of group IDs, because here we can also provide list of values for that reason, and the name of our attribute was group ID, this one. And now this will be group chat documents. We don't need to print this, and it will be list of group message model. Let's name it as chat. This will be group chat documents, group chat documents, and document ID will be also group chat documents. Sender and receiver is not required. Here this will not be message model. For both of them we have already written the function for map, so let's use that. This will be group message model. For map we are passing the data and it will convert the data to group message model. Here we are not having any sender receiver, so here we can create a group ID that will be inside doc.data group ID, and the key will be our group ID. And here we can use chat data.add. We can add the full message and the message is inside message like this. And now we can return the chats, that's okay. Here error in reading group chat messages. Now here we have written the function. Now this function we are not going to read it directly. Our provider will be reading the function, and after this provider will be also loading the function, will be reading the data from provider. So inside our group message provider, here will be having a map of string. This will be the group ID and list of group message model. Let's name it as group messages, assigning it to empty map. Now, if we notice the chat provider, we have also done like this only. We have created a chats, and with the help of get chats, we are reading all the chats. Let's make it an underscore because it will be private then. Also this one, group messages, read all group messages. It will be map of string, comma, list of group message model, get group messages, will return group messages like this, and the data may be null, so we need to add a question mark. So if group message does not exist, we'll return empty dictionary, will return empty map. So if group message does not exist, we'll return empty dictionary, will return empty map. And now, like we did in chat provider, we were adding a debounce effect so that we don't call this function multiple number of times. If we use this debounce, then it will only call this function in every 1 second. If we use debounce, then this function will only get executed once in every second. Means if we call this function 5 to 10 times in 1 second, then it will only execute one time. That's the need of debounce, because real-time changes may happen several times in milliseconds, so it's better to not update the UI in several milliseconds. Instead, we can update the UI in every 1 second. So let's do that. Let's create a timer variable that will be debounce. Import the timer from dart async, and then if debounce is already there, we need to first cancel the debounce, and here we need to write a function to read all the group messages where the user is present. Let's name it as read all group message. Here first we'll check if debounce is there. We need to cancel the debounce, and then we were calling the current user chats to load the data from our database. We'll do this thing only. Now here we will be calling the function that we have written, read group messages, this one, and we need to pass list of group IDs. So let's do it. Here first we need to get all the list of group IDs where the user is currently joined, and it's inside this group model, but it's in group model, we only need the group IDs. So for that we need to loop. First let's create list of string group IDs, assign it to empty list, and then here we'll use a for loop that will loop over for group and join groups, and it will append dot add value will be group ID. In this way it will add all the group IDs to this list, and now we can call the function read all groups that we have written here, read group messages, and we'll pass the group ID like this. So you will use await and call this function. Group IDs will be inside the group IDs, and this will return map of string list of group model data. So we need to keep it somewhere. So let's create a final result variable. So if there is result, in that case, if result is not equal to null, it means it's returning some data. In that case, we'll just sort each of the data that we are receiving in form of descending order of date time timestamp, and then now we can store the result in our underscore group messages, and after this we can notify our listeners. One more thing we can do, if our list is empty, then it's useless to call this function. For that, if our group IDs dot is not empty, only in that case we'll call this. Otherwise we don't need to do anything. Now it's okay. If we call this function read all group messages, then it will first get all the group IDs from all the groups that were joined, and then it will read all the group messages and return it in underscore group messages. Now we can read our group messages by simply calling this get group messages. Now we have written all the functions. Now we need to also write the function to add the group message to our provider means when we are sending the group message, it should show us first, and later on it might take some milliseconds time to show the other users, so we don't face any delay. For that reason, we'll first load the message in our provider first, like we did it in our chats message provider. Like this, we'll have this similar thing here. Add group message. Let's name it as add group message. Adding is very simple. We'll just be requiring the string group ID and the required string message. Here we need to use try catch. Some error may happen, we don't know. And then we will be using our group messages for this specific group key, group ID dot add. We need to add the message. So message will be in form of group message model. Let's use it. Now it's okay. We need to also add some null checks. And after we have added, we need to notify our listeners. Job is done now. Now our job is done now. In case of any error, we will just simply print that error on adding chats on provider. Now let's send some chat inside our group. Here we are having a send message function. Let's just copy it from chat page like we did. We'll be requiring this open file picker. The logic will be very much similar. Okay, so we can copy both of them. We will do the notification sending part for group message later on. But for now, let's just copy both of the functions and paste it here. So here, like this will be received. So for now, we are removing the notification part. For sending the message, if we check the function for creating a new group message, we'll be only requiring group ID, message, sender ID, and whether it's an image or not. So let's do it. We only require these things, and we don't need user data for this. We'll be requiring all those things. The things that are required, we can simply copy it from here and paste it here. And name was underscore message controller. Also this one. And here will not be sending notification first of all for now, and this one will not use this function. We can simply remove this full function, and now we'll call the function create document send group message. Here make the function async. It may take some time to execute, and make it await. So we also don't need set state here. We'll use await. Let's create a send message function like our chat page. This one. So here if we send a, let's create a function void underscore send group message. Make it async. Here we'll be requiring all this at arguments to provide. Just pass this. And now we can call the function await create group send group message. We call send group message, and we need to pass group ID will be inside group ID, message will be inside message, is image will be inside is image, and sender ID will be inside sender ID. After we have sent the message, we'll be returning a boolean value either true or false. After we are getting the value may be either true or false. So we are going to get a value, and if value, it means it's true. In that case, we'll be calling the add function that we have created. It will be inside provider dot of context listen to false, return type of message provider dot add group message. Group ID will be inside group ID, message, it's a type of group message provide. Message is a type of group message model, so let's use it. So we don't need to provide message ID. Timestamp is also, we can use date time dot now. For user data, we can just use sender ID. For user data, we can send empty string user data. Phone, let's make it empty string, and user ID will be the sender ID. So we need to add this in form of list. Now we have done it. After we have sent the message, we can simply clear our message controller.text. Now we need to call this function. When we click on send message underscore send group message group ID, so we need to provide the group ID. Group ID is way from group data dot group ID. Message will be inside our underscore message controller dot text. Sender ID will be the current user who is logged in. Now let's try to send a new message and send it. So here we have send the message. Let's verify with our database. Yes, so it's message is getting created. We are having no problem. Now it's time to read the messages, and we can simply do it using the provider. Here inside the column expanded container that we have, we'll be showing the messages here. Instead of this container, we'll be showing all the group messages. So instead of this container, we'll have a consumer of group message provider, and here we'll be returning builder. Let's use. Now here we'll be having map of string comma list of group message model, and this will be our all group messages, and it will be inside value dot get group messages. Now here it contains all the group messages, but we don't need to read all the group messages. We only want the messages for this specific group. So for that reason we need to filter it out. So it will be list of group message model, means the value that we are receiving. Let's name it as this group message. It will be all group messages, and the key will be the group ID for this specific group. So it will be inside group data dot group ID, and it might happen that this data does not exist. So in that case we need to return an empty list. Now it's okay, and here we'll return. For now let's just use a list view builder. Item count will be this group message dot length, and for now we are just simply returning a text. For each index, let's return a text. Data will be this group message dot for specific index dot the message. So now here let's try to restart the application. Now here it's showing the group name, but it's not showing the message. We have not yet called the provider. So for calling the provider inside our home.dart file, we can do one thing. When we are calling this get all group data, after we can create one more function that will be load all groups required data. When we call this function, first we'll load all data, this one, and after this we'll call this function read all group message. You will be requiring the user ID, so let's accept the user ID. Now in our home page, we'll just call load all required data and pass our current user ID. In this case, it will first call the load all group data, and it will load all the groups where the user is currently joined, and after that it will be adding all the group IDs to this list, and then we'll be reading all the messages where the user is present, and after that all the messages will be loaded in our group messages underscore group messages map. So let's restart the application. Now let's click here. So here it's not showing any list. It might happen that something is wrong. So we need to find out what's the problem, why it's not showing. This function is not getting called. So there's some problem. Let's find out. Total groups is showing 0. It means that we have some problem here. It's not calling the function because group IDs are empty. Now we need to find why it's not calling the function. Do one thing, we can make this async and use await. and after this we can call it. Now let's try. Now it's showing total groups as 1. Let's try to open it. Yes, so now it's showing total groups as 1. Now here we are getting an error that string is not a subtype of date time. Let's find out what's the problem. When we are passing it to message model, at that time we are getting this to timestamp. So this is not going to be in form of string. So we can do one thing. We can just use datetime dot parse, and if this is not there, we can just use 2024 0101 like this. Now let's try to restart. Now here we are getting loaded. Now let's visit here. Here it's showing the message, "Hi everyone." Now let us modify the group message UI. So similar to this chat message, we'll create one more file. This will be group chat message dot. It will be very much similar to this UI. If we copy this full code and paste it here, it will be more better. The name of the function will be group chat message. Here we'll be requiring the message. The message will be not in form of message model. It will be in form of group message model. And current user image, all those things will be same. And here comes the logic. Here we are having if widget is an image, and we are matching whether the sender is the user or not. So for this will be simply sender ID, and also this one. This will solve the problem, and the image ID will be inside message. That's correct. And also this one will be sender ID. So we are not going to add text here. We can simply remove this. All those things will be sender ID. And also we don't need this. Now let's save it. We have used the same UI, but a little bit changes we need to do, because in the group message, if you find the chat message, we are simply having this kind of chat bubbles, and here it was not showing the name of the person who sent the message. But in case of group message, here will be showing the profile icon for the specific user and the name of the user who had sent the message. We'll do that later on, but now let's just use that group chat message UI that we have created. Group chats message. Let's just use that group chat message widget that we have created instead of text widget in our group chat page. Instead of this text, we'll be using group chat message. We need to pass the message. Message is a type of group message model, so it will be this group message model for specific index. Current user will be the user ID that we're reading, and this will be this group message for specific index dot is image. If it's not provided, then set it to false. Now it's okay. Let's save it. Now let's check it. Here it's showing the message bubble correctly, but we want the message to start from end, means end of the screen. In that case, for that we can simply reverse the list. This will be also list of group message model. This will be reversed message. It will be this group message dot reversed dot to list. Now instead of this group message that we are using, it will be reversed message. We will not find any change. Here we need to add this thing, reverse is equal to true. Now our chat message will start from the end. Now it's okay. Let's work on the real-time feature. Now if we send any message is getting sent, and it's also getting added in the documents. But now we need to also verify by restarting the application that is the provider loading the message correctly or not. Yes, the provider is also loading the message correctly. Now let's add the real-time feature first, and after that we'll be working on editing, deleting, updating. And now let's just add the real-time functionalities, and after that we'll be working on the edit message and delete message. So real-time function will be very much similar to the chat message that we are using here. Subscribe to real-time. Here we are providing the user ID, and this was the thing. We can simply copy this function. Here we'll be requiring one more subscription. This will be our group message subscription. Let's just copy this function. This will be subscribe to real-time group MSG, and the collection will be our group collection and group MSG collection, OT2 collection, and in case of anything update, we'll call group message model, and the function was, and instead of chat provider, this one will be group message provider dot load all required data, and we need to pass the data. Just simply copy this. In case of create, read, update, delete, everything, this will happen. Now we only need to listen to this real-time message inside our home.dart file. When we are subscribing to real-time changes for chats, we'll also call this subscribe to real-time messages and pass user ID as the current user ID. Now we have already added the real-time feature, but for testing the real-time functions are working or not, we need to first invite another user to the group and then chat it from both devices and send messages to the same group from different devices. Then we will be able to understand whether its real-time functionalities are working or not. So here what we are going to do, when we click on invite members, we will be searching for members, selecting them and sending a chat message to that specific user to join the group. So let's do that here. Let's create one more file. This will be invite members.dart. This UI will be very much similar to our search users. So we can simply do one thing, just copy it. For that, let's just copy the full search users and paste it here. This will be invite members. For now, we are just commenting out the handle search function, because we need to write the code first for searching and loading the list, and after that we can do it. Let's have this for now, and when we click on this invite members button, it should redirect us to this invite members.dart page. It should redirect us to invite members page. So let's specify a route. It will be invite members context to invite members. Let's just copy the route name, and inside our group chat page in our app bar, this one. So when we click on this pop-up menu button item on tab, in this callback we'll use navigator dot push name, pass the context as well as the route. Now let's save. Let's click here. It's taking us. Now here we'll be having a set, return type of string, selected user IDs. Let's make it to as an empty set for now. When we select the users one by one, it will be adding the users to this set or hash map, you can say anything. Here it will be invite users. We need to search for the phone number, and this create new group is not required. We can remove it, and we can also reduce the size for this. If we have data, then in that case the logic will be same for handling users, because we need to search the user and display that to the users. Here it will be search users, and here we'll provide the search controller.text, and user ID will be the current user ID. And after we search, we will save the search user ID to the search users list here. Suppose if we search for any number, when we click on this, it should be handling the search. So here it's loading all the users. One more thing that we are going to do, inside the list type, after this subtitle, we'll have a trailing that will have an icon. If it's selected, then it will icons.check. Otherwise, it will be icon circle outline. Here we need to read whether the user is selected or not. Let's make everything short and simple. Here we are creating a user variable where we'll be assigning search users.documents for specific index, and we'll be having the user ID inside users.userid, and whether the user ID is selected or not. Here we'll first check our set whether it contains the specific user ID. If it contains, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Now on press, we will not redirect the user to the chats page. This will have some different logic. Here we'll just change, if it's selected, then we'll make it as unselected, and instead of this search users dot documents for specific index, every time we have, it will be user, because we are already assigning the data of search users dot document for specific index inside user. Now it's okay. When we press this list type, it should select it. When we select, we'll use set state. If it is selected, then user is deselecting it, so we need to remove this. So we'll remove the specific user ID. If it's not selected, in that case we'll add the user ID. Now it's okay. Let's try to select it. Yes. So now we are selecting, and when we are clicking again, it's deselecting. Inside our scaffold floating action button, we'll have a floating action button that will be a container like this. If our members are selected as 0, currently 0 members are selected, and if we click here, it's also changing the members count. We can do one more thing. If selected users id.length is greater than 0, only in that case we are going to show this. Otherwise, we will just return an empty sized box. Now currently we have nothing selected. If we select this, here it's showing. Now our UI is almost ready. Now when we click on this button, it should give us the pop-up that the selected users will be invited. After they accept the invitation, they will join the group. So for that, let's create one more stateful widget. It's alert invite users, alert invite. Let's name it as alert invite. Here we'll be returning an alert dialog. Here we'll be passing the group model group data and set of string selected user IDs. We need to add the formal parameters, and also we need to import group model. This will be also required. And now the title will be text proceed to invite. Let's click here, and when we click on this container, we need to wrap this with a gesture detector. On tap will show dialog. Builder will be our context of alert invite. Selected user ID will be the IDs that we are getting in the set, and group data will be inside. We need to accept the group data, otherwise group data is not accessible to us. So we'll be accepting that in form of arguments. Here we are creating a variable of group model, and we're naming it as group data, and we are getting the data in form of arguments as a return type of group model. And inside our group message page, here also inside the pop-up, when we are redirecting the user to the invite members route, we also need to pass an arguments. The arguments will be the group data. Now if we open the group and click on invite members, let's search for some phone number. Let's select it. Let's click on add one member. It's showing us the title, proceed to invite. Okay, so now let's also add a content inside our invite members page. Alert invite widget will be having the content of text that once the user accepts the invite, they will join the group, or we can say like this: proceed to invite $selected user widget dot selected users dot length members. And here we'll be having the buttons inside actions. First one will be a text button of cancel, text cancel, and another one will be invite. In case of cancel, we'll just use navigator dot pop context like this. And if we click on invite, then what we want, we should send a direct message to the user whom the admin has selected for invite. If we select invite, then we need to send a direct chat message to the user whom the admin has selected to invite. So for this, we need to do two things. First, we need to write the function for adding members to the group, as well as we need to do some modifications in our chat UI so that when we send a group invite, it should look like this, that this user has sent you a group invite. Do you like to join? This kind of thing we want to give to the user. So let's do that. For this, we need to do some extra modification in our existing chat page. Inside our Appwrite console, we'll go to groups, attributes. Here we'll be adding one more attribute. Inside chats data, attributes, here we'll be adding one more attribute. It will be a Boolean attribute as group invite. By default, we will set it to false, and this one is required. Now we need to also modify our chats model that we have created in previous video. Here inside message model, we'll be having one more variable. This will be Boolean is group invite, and this will be required. This dot is group invite, and this will be inside map of. Just copy the name correctly, make sure the name is correct. And now in this way, when we are sending a new message, in that moment is group invite will be false, and also here when we are sending a new message, is group invite will be false. Now here we are getting error in reading chats. Null is not a subtype of Boolean, so we need to handle this inside our chat model that we have, message model. Here it might happen that the data is null. In that case, we'll simply return false. And also let's handle these things. Now it's okay, here we are not getting the error anymore. Also when we are sending the group message, in that case, inside our chat page, when we are creating this add message, it is adding to the provider, but inside our Appwrite controllers, when we are creating a new message like this, here we also need to accept the required Boolean is group invite, and after this we'll send is group invite to is group invite. In case of delete, we don't need to do anything. In case of update also, we don't need to do anything. Only it will be required while creating the document. And here also we need to pass is group invite. Every time when we are creating the chat, we are not sending group invite, so we'll set it to false by default. Here also group invite will be set as false. Now it's okay. Either we will be getting the result in form of true or false. If it's a group invite, then we need to modify our chat UI that we have. But before that, let's add the function. When the user clicks accept invite, they should be added to the specific group. So for that, we need to create a function. Here let's add the function to add the user to the specific group. Let's make it a future add user to group. Here we'll be requiring the string of group ID. Make it async. Let's use try catch always to handle exceptions. Here we already have the group collection. What we need to do, we need to just update our message and user data, and this will add the user to the group. If we are writing the function to add the user to the group, we need to also write the function so that the user can leave the group. Now, since Appwrite doesn't have functions like add a union or field value union, so we cannot add users to the existing list directly, push or add command. It means that we need to load the existing list and then we need to add the list on the device, and then we need to send our updated list and update the document. This is the way how we can add the user. I know that here we are sending the request 2 times, but we don't have any other approach. So for that reason we are using this. So first we need to know how many members are there in the group. We need to read the group members first. Here let's set members, or we can set it as results. Here we'll use await databases dot list documents. Document database ID is inside DB, and our collection ID. Here we are creating a result variable. Here we'll use await databases dot get document. Here we need to get the specific document, means the group ID document that we have. Database will be our DB. Collection will be our group collection, not group message group collection, and the document ID will be the specific group document ID like this one, and we are accepting that in form of group ID. Let's use this. Now it will load many unnecessary data. So instead we can use this query.select function and only load the members, and it should be inside list. Okay, this will be also inside list. Now we need to only select members. So after accessing result, inside result we'll be only getting the members list that we have. And now after we have the result, so we need to extract the list of existing members. Let's create a list of existing members. It will be inside result members, result dot data members. Now here we are having all the existing members. Now we need to create our own list, but before that it might happen that user had already joined the group. In that case we'll not add them again to the members. So we'll use this function if existing members not dot contains the current user. So we need to also pass the current user. If existing members does not contains, this means that it does not. Here we are saying that not existing members contains. It means that if existing members does not contains the current user, in that case only will use existing members dot add the current member. And now we need to update the document of the specific group. You will use database await databases dot update document. Database ID will be DB, collection ID will be the collection, group collection, and document ID will be the group ID. And in data we need to only update the members. Members will be our new list that we have of existing members after we have added the new member, and also inside the user data relationship that we have, it will be containing the existing members. Let's check out. We can make this type as Boolean. so that we can let the user know that you have successfully joined the group or not. In case of everything is correct, will return true, else will return false, and will also return why it was an error on joining group and the error message. And here we are going to write the logic to exit the specific group, future exit group. Here will be required to pass the string group ID and the string of current user, make it async. We have to simply remove the person from this list. It will have the similar logic. First we are going to read all the members, and if this contains the member, in that case we'll remove it and update the document. It's very simple. So if existing members contains the current user, then we'll remove it from existing members. And here will be error in leaving group in case of any error. Now we have written both the functions for joining and leaving the group. Now let's try to send an invite to any user. Let's connect with two devices. Now for testing, let us use the terminal and run the application on physical device. When we invite a new member, in that case we will be sending a chat message. We'll be sending a direct message to the user. So for that, let's do the needful changes. If we click on invite, then we'll call create new chat. Here we need to pass the message. Sender ID will be our current user ID, so that we can get it using provider. It will be of provider dot of context listen false. It will be a return type of user data provider dot get user ID. In this way, current user ID will be there and receiver user ID. Now here we are having selected user IDs. So here we are getting list of selected user IDs. So we need to loop over each of these user IDs that has been selected for IDs for var ID, for string ID in selected widget dot selected user IDs. In this case, we are looping over each of the selected IDs. The receiver ID will be the ID, whether it's an image or not. This is not an image, so it will be false, but it is a group invite, so it will be true. We need to write the message in such type so that we are able to read most of the data about the group. We need to write the message about the group, about the description and much more things. So it will be better if we store the data in form of JSON string. So we can simply use JSON encode and it will encode the JSON data. We can just pass the name as the group. We are having widget.group data dot, let's pass the name similar to this. Here we'll pass the ID. This will be the group ID, group description and the group image. In this way we'll be saving the data in form of JSON string. Just make it await, just add await and make this as async. Now if we select multiple number of users, it will send this message to multiple number of users. Now here we have both the users. Let's invite this user. Let's add it. Here it's asking, here it's giving the pop-up. Once the user accepts, then we'll join the group. Now we have clicked on invite. Here we have received the data in form of JSON string like this. Now we also need to close this pop-up after we have done. So once this for loop gets completed, we need to use navigator dot pop context for 2 times so that it closes this pop-up window and also take us back to our group chat. If you want, we can also close it for 3 times so that it takes us to our main page. Now we have this kind of UI for group chat invite, but here we are getting all the necessary data that we need, like the group name, description, image and everything. So what we'll do here, we need to modify the UI because this UI, the raw JSON string data is not looking so good. We need to modify the data. For that, we need to modify the UI. For that, we'll open the chat message where we are decorating the chat message. Here everything is correct. One thing that we need to do, here the row alignment is correct, will not do anything to it. So here inside message model, we are reading the message. One thing we can do, we can create a map of group data invite. If our widget.message is group invite to true, in that case, we'll try to decode the widget.msg.message. If we are not able to decode, we'll return an empty map. Else, if this is not a group invite, we'll definitely return an empty map. And now here, if it's widget.is group invite equal to true, it will be widget.msg.is group invite. In that case, we'll do something here, and in else case, we will go to this logic. Here we'll be having a column and main access element will be main access element.main. If its sender is the current user, then it will align it to end, else it will align it to start. Inside children's, we'll first have a text. If widget.message.sender is the current user, like this, it will show you send a group invitation for green, like this. And also, and after this text, we'll be having a container of with media query dot of context dot size dot width 80% of the screen, and it will also have some kind of decoration. The child will be a column. The column will have children. First, it will have the text of group data invite name, like this. Also, the text align should be text align dot center. After this text, we'll have a similar text. This will be for description, and we need to reduce the font a little bit. Just we don't need this font size and font weight. Now it's okay. Above this text, we'll add the group icon for this specific group. So now if we check both the UIs, it looks something like this. This is the sender and this is the receiver. Here we need to add the group icon. For this, we can use the same logic that we are using inside everywhere. Let's copy it from below like this. Image will be cache network image, and it will be inside. It will be like this, widget.group data. But first, we need to make sure that if it's equal to null and is equal to empty string, in that case we'll show the default image. So if group invite data image is not equal to null, or we can give if it's equal to null and group invite data image is equal to empty string, in that case we'll show a default image, else we'll show a cache network image provider. Here we need to pass the URL, and this will be the background image, and URL will be this URL that we have. Let's just copy it. Only one thing that will be changed is that it will be inside group invite data image. Now it's okay. Let's save it. Now it's loading the image. We can increase the size of this circle avatar using the radius attribute. We can make it 20. I think 35 is a good radius. Let's also check in this one. Yes, 35 is looking quite good. Now we need to have T buttons. For the receiver, they will have two buttons, one for accept and reject, and the sender will only have the cancel invitation button. So let's do that. We'll decorate this later on, but first let's add all the buttons. After that, we'll fix the padding and other issues. After this text, we'll have a row. Row will have children's. It will have an elevated button. First one, let's name it as text cancel invitation. And also we want to have it in center, so use main axis alignment to main axis alignment dot center. Now the receiver will be having two options like accept invitation and accept or reject. So we need to add some logic. If the widget is current user, in that case we'll show cancel invitation, else we'll show join group like this. Let's save it. Now here it's showing join group and here it's showing cancel invitation. And here we'll have one more button. This will be our outline button. On press will do nothing. This will be of text reject, and this will be only available to the receiver. They can either join the group or reject the group invitation. So we don't want to show it. If is current user, if not equal to current user, only in that case just show it. So here it's showing us the reject option, and here it's showing both the buttons, and here it's only showing the single button. We need to also decorate the buttons a little bit. We'll be having a sized box of width. Let's make it 10 for some spacing. Now it's okay. We need to just decorate these two buttons. In case of this, it will not have any sized box. Now it's okay. Let's decorate the text. Let's decorate the elevated buttons. Let's use the style as outline button or style. Now just reload. Here just change the color to red. We also need to change the color of the text to red. So let's use text style, text style, color, text style, color will be colors dot red dot shade 300. Now it's looking quite better. And also for the join group, here we need to keep the decoration in this line, style, elevated button of style form. We will be only changing the background color. So here we have changed the background color for this, and we need to also change the text color. Here we'll have a style, text style. Here we'll have a style of text style. Now it's looking quite better. Also, if you see here, now here we have both the buttons. Either they can join the group or reject the group. Now let's give some padding and spacing. First, let's give a padding here. Now let's wrap this with a container and give a padding of edge insets dot all 8. Now it's okay. Individually we need to give padding to all, like for the text, for this container. Here in this column we need to give a padding. Now between the text and the row we'll have one more sized box of height. Let's make it as 10. Now let's save it. Now it's looking something like this for the sender, and this is looking something like this for the receiver. Here we can just change it to group invitation for you send a group invitation for. Now this is correct. Now when we click on this button, if we click on cancel invitation, in that case it will just delete the message and it will cancel the invitation. So it's very simple to do. Like inside chat page, as we are deleting the message, here inside we were deleting the message by simply calling provider dot of context delete message and the message ID, and this will delete the message. So we need to do the same thing here also, because if we visit this function, it's deleting the message from the provider and also deleting it from database. So here when we press this cancel invitation button, but before that we need to make sure that if the sender is the current user, in that case only we'll cancel the invitation. We'll use this. Here we need to pass the current user ID. It will be inside widget.current user, and here we need to pass the message. It will be inside widget.message. In else case it will be for join group. Now let's try to cancel the invitation from here. Also let's try to cancel it from here. So when we cancel the invitation, the message just got deleted, and we don't need to pop out the current chat after we delete the invitation. Only deleting it from provider will work. Let's invite the user again. Now we'll work on this join group. In case of reject, if the user press reject, the same thing will be happening. So we can just copy it and paste it here. If the user press reject, means this one, we will simply delete the message like this. Let's try to restart now. If we press reject from this, it is not deleting. It may happen we have done something wrong. Okay, so here we are not deleting the chat in case the user is receiver, but now we need to change the logic. So if the user is receiver, when we click on reject, it should delete the message. It deleted the message from here, and it also deleted the message from the sender. Now it's quite okay. Let's work on the function to join the group. Now let's click on this join group, and we will be joining the group. For joining the group, we'll call the function that we have recently created inside our Appwrite controllers. This function add user to group. We need to provide the group ID and the current user, and this should be enough to add the user to the group. Let's try. So inside chat message, here in the else case, we'll call add user to the group. Make sure to use await because it may take some time. Also make this as async. Group ID will be inside group invite data and ID. Current user will be inside widget dot current user. Now let's try to monitor our database whether it's working or not. Here inside our database currently, if we check, we have only one member and one user data. If we increase the count, now if this person joins, let's see, some event happened. Total groups 1, chat loaded is 1. I think that now we just joined the group. Yes, now we have joined the group. Let's check on the members here. It's showing 2 members. It means that our data should be updated now. Yes, now we have 2 user data. The user ID of 2 users. 2 members have joined. Let's try to send a message. In this case, now we can test the real-time feature is working or not. Hi, admin. Let's send a message. Now real-time features are also working. Instantly it got updated when we send a message from this user to this user. You see, real-time features are also working. Now one thing we need to do that they can edit or delete, and also the image option that they can send image or not. Here we need to show the last image that has been sent, and also the count and the time like we do in this one. After we have joined the group, we need to delete this message. Means we need to run this function. After it completes, and when we are doing, this is a boolean function. It would be better to give a feedback to the user that you have joined the group. So here inside the chat message, we'll be getting a data after the function completes. So we'll use then value. If we get a value, in that case we have joined the group. Here we'll return a snack bar. Let's use careful messenger dot of context dot show snack bar. Return the snack bar. Content will be text. Group. Here we can show joined group invite data name group successfully. else will be also showing a snack bar. You will say error in joining group. Now it's okay. Here we are simply, after we have completed this step, if we are getting the value, only in that case we'll be deleting the message, otherwise we'll not be deleting the message. Yes, after the value is true, we'll be deleting the message. And now our group invite part is done. So we have done the two parts, group edit and group invite. Let's edit the description. Now our database is also getting updated instantly. It means that everything is correct. We are having no problems. But one thing is that our profile picture is still having problem. When we are updating the picture, the existing picture is going. Let's fix it. If we have the existing image, so this image ID is the file picker result image, and if it's getting empty, we need to do it like this. If it's not equal to empty string, in that case we'll use this. Or not equal to null, else we'll use image ID, else we'll use empty string. So here if the image ID is not equal to empty string and not equal to null, in that case only we'll be using the image ID. So let's do the null check first. If it's not equal to null, in that case we'll show this. Let's make it like this. If it's equal to null, or image ID is equal to empty string, in that case we'll show this, else we'll show empty string, else we'll show the image ID or empty string like this. Now let's try to update the group. Let's update the group. Now it's updating the data. And now let's try to edit the group. This time we'll not change the data. Let's try to update the group. Yes. So now it's also using the existing image. This is correct. Now what we want to do, that if we click here, it should show us the group description and the members that are present in the current group. And here, if we join the group, after we join the group, here it will show join this group successfully and message will get deleted. Now we need to also write the function for exit group. When the user press this exit group function, they should exit the group. Now let's work on the method how we can exit the group. When the user press on exit group, they should be removed from the group. For that, here inside our group chat page, when the user press the exit group, so here on tab we'll call the function await exit group. We'll make it async. We'll call exit group. You want to pass the group ID. It was inside group data dot group ID. Current user will be current user, and here also we are not returning any. Okay, here we are returning a data in form of boolean like the other one. If we are getting a value, if the value is true, in that case we'll show a snack bar group left text group left successfully, else will return failed to exit group. And after this we'll use navigator dot pop context. Now let's try to exit the group. Here it's showing group left successfully. Here we are not joined to any groups. Let's try to invite. Here the members also got reduced. Now let's invite the user again. Now here it's showing the JSON data. What we can do, instead of showing the JSON data in our home.dat, here can do one thing. If chat data total chats -1 dot message dot is group invite, in that case we'll just return group invite. This will return this. Like we'll be also requiring this, you or someone else. Just copy this. Now here it's showing you group invite. Let's make it you send a group invite, else RECRE a group invite. Now let's reload it here. Now here it's showing receive a group invite, and here it's showing you send a group invite. Now it's okay. Let's try to join this group. After we join this group, here it's saying join golden retriever club group successfully. Here the members got increased, and when we click here, now we should load all the members that are there inside this group. Let's make one more page. This will be group details dot make a class group details, make a stateful widget group details, add a scaffold. It will be the similar app bar that we are having in group chats. So we'll copy the whole part from here to here and paste it here. We will not be having any action button, so remove the actions. Now we need to import this functions. Also we'll be requiring the group data that we can pass it in form of arguments like this. Inside our main.dart file, in routes, we need to add one more route. This will be group underscore detail context of group details. Now when we click here in this area, only in that case it will open this page. So this area falls under this row. We need to add a gesture detector in this row. On tab, we'll use navigator dot push named, pass the context as well as the route group underscore detail, and in arguments we need to pass the group data. Let's try. Now here it's loading the group details. Here we are in the group details page. In the group details page, here inside, after the app bar, inside the body we'll have a column will have children's, we'll have a text description, then a sized box of height 10 for some spacing. Here we'll be having the description. It will be inside group data dot group desk. It may be null in that case. Now it's loading the description. The cross-axis element will be cross-axis element dot start. Just increase the font size for description. Font weight to W600 like this. and later on we can just wrap it with some padding. Now here we have the description. Just reduce the sized box height as required. After this description, we'll have the text members, and we can also add a divider here. Now after this, here we'll list all the members that are there. We'll use a column here. Column will have children's. In children's, it will be group data dot user data dot map. For each user data, we'll be returning a list type, and we need to convert all of them to list. The title will be text of e dot name. It may be empty string, so we can just provide no name like this. It's showing the name of the users, and in subtitle we'll have the text if e dot user id is equal to group data dot admin. In that case it will show admin, else it will show member. So yes, this person is the admin. It's showing the admin tag, and we can wrap this with a card widget. And in our leading, we can have the profile picture of the user. So like this, we'll copy this circle avatar. Just paste that here. Instead, this will not be group data image. It will be e dot profile pic. Now let's just save it. So here it's showing who are the members of the group. Now it's okay, we have done this part. Now if you click here, it's loading all the members, and also here if we load here all the members, here it's loading all the group members that are present. Now let's modify the UI. Here it will show the user image as well as the user name who has sent the message. Because this is a group, we will not be able to understand who has sent the message. Inside our group chat message, here everything is correct. One thing that we need to change is that now we'll work on the image part later on. First, let us focus on the normal text part. So this row will just have a circle avatar for now. Let's check what's happening. Yes, so this is correct. This will only be there if widget dot message dot sender id is not equal to widget dot current user. Now here we can show the profile picture of the user. Let's just remove this circle avatar, and our image will be inside widget dot message dot user data will be the first user only dot profile picture. Now it's loading the picture of the user. Now before this row we'll have the text of widget dot msg dot user data first user dot name. If it's not there, then it will send no name. Let's check. So here it's loading the name of the user as well as the text. Let's do one thing. Let's add some padding here and also increase the text type. Also increase the font size. Let's make it 16, or let's make it 14, and increase the font weight to W600. Now we are able to know who is sending the message. We know that we are sending the message, then for the current user case we should not show it. So for this will only happen if our sender ID is not equal to the current user ID. Now it's okay. Here we are having the messages. Now if we also see in this one, here it's showing like this, and here it's showing like this. So both are correct. Now let's work on the image sending part where users can send images. We can just reduce the padding a little bit. Now it looks okay. For sending an image inside our group chat, like we are sending inside our group chat page here, when we press this button, we are opening the file picker and sending a message as we are doing it in our chat page. So we can do the similar thing. Just copy this function. We'll be requiring both of this. Let's just copy it directly and paste both of them here. Now we'll be required to create an empty file picker result. So here we are initializing underscore file picker result, where we are going to be storing the file picker results. So when we call this function, it will just set the result to our underscore file picker result. We need to import this file. It will be from dart.io, and we need to also import the input file. This will be from Appwrite. After we save the image to the bucket, we need to send a new chat. If image id is not equal to null, in that case we'll create group send group message. Group id is required, so group id will be inside group. So we need to pass the group data to this function. So let's pass it. Instead of this user id, we need to pass the group model group data, and here also we need to pass the group data. It will be group model group data. Here it will be group data dot group id. We also require the message and the current user id. So current user id will be the current user, and the message will be the image id that we are getting. To also pass other attributes like if it's an image or not. Yes, this is an image. And now after we have sent the message, it's a boolean result, so it will return some value. Then if value is there, in that case actually we don't need to send. We can simply call this send group message and it will send the group message. So we need to pass this group data. So let's just call this one. Here we need to call this if our file is on submitted, and here when we press this, we'll pass on file open file picker option. Let's save it. Let's try to send some file. Now here it's showing us the image text, so we need to modify a little bit. Let's see what we save in our database. Is image is set to true, and the person who has created this message. Now we need to modify the group message here inside group chat message. So the thing is that here we are passing widget.isImage. Here instead of this we can use widget.msg.isImage equal to true. In that case we'll do this. Has the image been uploaded? Yes, the image has been uploaded. Now like the previous one, we have not yet passed the isImage property. It will be inside map. isImage. If it's not there, it will be false. Now let's restart. Now it's showing the image that we have sent. If the image has been sent by other user, so here it's showing the image like this. What we'll do, here we'll show the name of the user who has sent the image as well as the profile picture. Here we have the row and the column. So like this logic, if this is the thing, we can simply copy this and paste it here. And also the name of the user who has sent the message will be this. It will be inside the column here. Let's reload. Now here it's okay. If we send message from here, it's showing our profile picture as well as the name of the user who has sent the message. Now let's try to edit and delete this message. We have already written the function for editing and deleting the message. Like we edit and delete message here, when we long press, here would show the option for edit, delete or cancel. We are also going to be giving the option inside our group messages. Only the admin and the user who has sent the message will be able to edit and delete the message. Now you can modify this according to your need if you want. Now let's just do the change as we did a chat page, this one. On long press that we are doing here, first we wrap it with a gesture detector, then on long press we are just showing an alert dialog like this, and in action we are processing to the action. One thing that we can do is just copy this. It will be very helpful for us, and when we press on this specific chat message inside our group chats, here we have the specific group chat message. So we need to wrap this with a widget gesture detector. Let's format the document first for better visibility, and now we can paste it. Now let's fix all this error. First, if message, so the data will be inside reversed MSG for specific index dot image, and if reversed, we can do one thing, just save the message here like final message, or we can just make it MSG. It will be this reverse message for specific index. Now we can just call MSG dot image if MSG dot sender ID is equal to current user, or if message dot sender ID is equal to group data dot admin. In that case only they will be able to, in that case we'll show this. Like the same thing here again, we need to create an edit message controller. Let's create it here. We already have an edit message controller, we can just use that here. Let's do this, and on press, let's not do anything for now. And also here where we are editing the chat message, we'll not do anything for now. Now it's okay. Let's try to click here. Here we are getting choose what you want to do with this image, and for here we are getting choose what you want to do with this message. If you're clicking on edit, we are getting the message, and if you are clicking on delete, then it should delete the message. So let's do that. Here we have written some function for that. Update group message, we need to use this update group message. We need the message ID. The message ID will be inside msg dot message ID, and the new message will be inside our edit message controller dot text, and we only require these two things. So now let's try to edit this message. So it's updating the message. After we are updating the message, we need to use navigator.pop context, or here it's also returning a boolean value. So it will be better that if we use then, if we are having value, in that case only we'll use navigator.pop context. In this way we can edit the message. Here it's showing that the message can't be modified, but this should not be the case because this user is the admin. It's showing this message can't be modified. This will not be this one. We need to just modify the logic. It will be group data dot admin is equal to current user. Let's try to edit this. Yes, now we are getting the option. We can also edit others message and also delete others message because he's the admin and he can do anything. But in case of this user, he's not the admin, so he's not going to get the option to edit this message. And also let's fix the spelling mistake. And also we can't edit this message also. Let's try to edit this. Yes, so it's also updating the message and it got changed in real time. Now let's work on the deleting message part. If we try to delete this message, we can't delete this message, but here we can delete this message. We have already written the function. It's delete group message. Let's make the name correct. Here on press cancel we are just popping out, and here we'll call delete group message. We need to pass the message ID. The message ID was inside msg.message ID. Here we are also returning boolean value. No, here we are not returning anything. It's okay. Just after this thing we can just pop up the context. Let's try to delete this message. Message got deleted and it got vanished from here. Let's try it again. It is showing here, and when we delete this message, it got removed from here. Now in case of image, we will not be having the option to edit the image. We'll be only having the option to delete the image. So it's showing choose what you want to do with this image, but it's still showing the image button, but it's still showing the edit button. And msg.isImage is equal to false. Only in that case we'll show the edit button. Yes, now it's not showing the edit button. Let's also try with this one. Let's also try to send an image from this one. Yes, so we are also being able to send the image, and if you want we can also delete this image. Now we have successfully created our group chat. Only thing is left that here, like this, we are showing the last message and the timing when the last message was delivered. So here we want to do the same thing. Here we are going to show the last message as well as the timing when the last message and number of unread messages. Now this thing is going to be tough because the logic that we are going to use is a little bit complex, but not to worry, we are going to do it. Now for getting the last message in this group, first here we'll be having a string group ID. This will be from value dot get join groups dot for specific index dot group ID, and now we need to get the latest message. You will be having list of group message model. Let's name it as messages. It will be value dot get group messages for specific group ID. So the result may be there and may not be there. So in this case, if it's not there, we'll just assign it to an empty list, and the latest message, group message model, latest message will be if message dot is not empty, or we can say is not equal to null, and then message dot is not empty. In that case, we'll return messages dot last, else will return null. Let's do one thing. Instead of returning empty list here, we can return null value only. Now inside this latest message, we have our latest message. Inside our subtitle, we can just use the text latest message dot message, and it may be null, so just add no message. Also add a null check here. Now since the last message was an image, so we need to modify this statement. Let's do the thing that we did inside chats data like this. Let's copy the full text. We know how to do it now. Let's use this instead. And here the logic was, if the current user ID is, so let's do it. If latest message dot sender ID is equal to current user ID, then it will show you. Else, if latest message dot is image, it will show send an image. Else it will show latest message dot message. If this is, so it will not be a group invite. Never ever it will be a group invite. So no need to do anything. Or instead of you, we can just add the name of the user. It will be latest message dot user data 0 dot name. If it's not there, just add no name. Yes, now it's okay. After this, just use this. Now it's okay. It's showing the name of the person who sent an image. Now if we check, now it's showing that you send an image. Let's try to send some message. Now here it's saying that what the message that you have sent. And here, like we are doing inside the chats, in trailing we are having column. We'll use this same column. Let's just copy it, and after the subtitle we'll paste it. Here first we need to format the date time. It was inside latest message.timestamp. How many message the user has read. We'll do this later on. For now, let's just comment it out. Now the message was sent at 8:42, then it's correct. Now it's working fine. Only thing that is left, that we need to show the number of unread messages. Now if we want to show the number of unread messages for groups, in that case we are going to be storing the message ID for the last message that the current user is viewing, and we'll save it inside these shared preferences. So for that, inside our local save data, here we are going to be writing a function save last sent message, and here we are going to be passing the key and the value of both string and the name of the arguments, and we'll be passing map of string comma string last seen messages, and then we'll just print saving last seen. Since the data we are going to be storing is in form of JSON, So first, with the help of JSON encode, we need to convert the JSON data to string, and then we'll use preferences.setString last seen messages and the JSON string. We will write one more function. This will be of future map string comma string get last seen messages. Here we will be having the JSON string. Here we'll call preferences.getString and the key was last seen messages. Make sure that both these spelling are correct when we are saving and reading the data. And if our JSON string is not equal to null, it means we have some data. In that case, we'll just decode the string that we have, and this will convert the string data to JSON, and then we can just map over each of the keys and return the key and value as string. Else we'll return a empty map. Now we'll be calling this two functions, one for saving and one for reading the last seen message for every group. Inside our Appwrite controllers, here we need to also write a function so that we are able to read the last seen messages. Here we'll be calculating the number of last unread messages. Here we are creating a future return type of integer calculate unread messages. We will be passing the group ID and list of group message model group messages. From local save data.get messages, we are going to be loading the last seen messages. It will be in form of map string comma string, and then we'll find the last seen message ID. For each specific group ID, it will have last seen message ID, and then for that specific group ID, we are finding the last seen message ID for that specific individual group ID that we are passing here. If last seen message ID is equal to null, it means that we have not seen any of the messages. In that case, we'll simply return group messages.length. Else we'll return the unread count as group message, where index message.message ID is equal to the last seen message ID. If unread count is less than 0, means -1, in that case we'll just return group messages.length. Else we'll return group messages.length minus unread count -1. Now we need to simply call this future function and pass this data. We'll be getting all the counts. For the first time we'll not get the count, but after every time we'll be getting the count of unread messages. So let's try it. We need to link this function. Now inside our home.dart file, we are storing all the messages for that specific group inside this messages list. Now we can pass the messages by passing this message. Now we want to give it above the time when the user send the message. Instead of this, here we'll be having a future builder. Future will be of calculate unread messages. Group ID will be inside group ID, and group messages will be the messages. It may be null. For that, let's just pass an empty list, and here we'll be passing context and snapshot. So if snapshot dot connection state is equal to connection state dot waiting, in that case we'll return nothing, means we'll return a sized box. If our snapshot dot data dot has error, in that case also we'll return a simple sized box. Let's make it else if, and else we'll be getting our unread count. So our unread message count will be inside snapshot.data. The data that we are passing, it was in form of integer. It might happen that no data is passed, so if there is no data, in that case it will be 0. And here we can return if unread message count is equal to 0, in that case we'll return a sized box. Else we'll return a circle avatar, and child will be text of unread message count. Radius, let's make it as 10. and here font size, here in style, text type, font size, let's make it as 11. Now it's quite okay. Here it's showing 7 because we don't have any last seen messages, so it means that it's calculating that we have not yet viewed any messages, so it's correct. And after we open this group, we need to set the message count, means we need to set the last message as the last message ID that we have seen inside our Appwrite controllers. Here again we need to save last message seen in the group. Here we'll be having a function update last seen message. We'll pass the group ID and the last seen message ID. Then we'll create a variable last seen message and we'll load all the last seen message, and from there we'll set last seen message for that specific group as the ID that we are passing, and then we'll just save that data inside our local shared preferences using save last messages. And now we need to call this function when we open the chat for this specific group. Currently we'll find that if we click here and if we go back, it's still loading this, it's not getting updated. So here in group chat page, when we are here, we can call update last seen message. We need to pass the group ID. It will be inside group data dot group ID. Last seen message ID will inside group. All group messages will be inside this group message dot last. So it is a type of, here we are required to pass this string and it's in form of group message model. So we need to pass last dot message ID. It will call this function and it will save the last seen. We have added some print statement to identify whether the data is getting saved or not. Let's try to save it. Let's open this group and now it's saying save last seen messages. Now let's go back. Now the value disappeared, but we need to move from this widget to this widget. After that the value is getting refreshed. Now if we open, you'll find that the last saved message is this, means this was the message. Now what we want, if we come back to this page, this should refresh the future builder. So we need to do some kind of function. This is not getting refreshed because it's not changing the state. If we simply call some provider, like if we call chat message provider, when we visit this, if we call provider.off context, listen to false, and it will be a type of group message provider dot load all group data. We are calling this. Here we need to pass the user ID, so it will be the current user ID. Now what will happen if we call this data, it will update the state in our home.dart file. In that case it will also rebuild a future widget and our data will get changed inside our group chat page. Here we need to call this. Current ID will be inside provider dot off context, listen to false. It will be a return type of user data dot get user ID. It will be of user data provider dot get user ID. Let's send a message from here. Now here it's showing 1. and when we open this message and go back, our message got disappeared. Also for this one, it's showing 8 messages. If we open this and close this, you will see that our unread messages got disappeared. In this way we can calculate, but if you find that the color of the message, if we send the message, you'll find that the color of the message was primary color, but in this case the color of the message is something default color. Let's just change it inside our home.dart file where we are reading, where we are showing the unread group messages. Here the background color will be primary color. We need to also change the text color, so let's use color to colors.white. Now it's okay. Now it's showing that we have one message that's unread. Now the last part that we need to do is sending notifications. For this, I have updated the existing Cloud FCM template. Now for sending a single notification to other user, we were using the post method to the root route, and now for sending multiple users we'll be using /many route, and this time we'll be passing the device token that will be list of device tokens like this, else everything will be same. In your account, what you need to do now, if you are following from the previous video, then you might have already forked this repository. If you have not yet forked this repository, I will provide a link for this repository in description. You need to simply fork it. Already some people have forked it. And if you are using the old version, make sure that you are using the latest one that has 37 commits. You need to sync the fork. If you don't have the latest one, it will just fetch the latest one and update it, because here we have the function. Here we have written the new function for route many, that where we can pass many device token and it will send notifications to multiple number of users at once. Now after you process it, Appwrite will automatically build the cloud function, and if you notice your cloud functions, you'll find that it got automatically deployed after we just fetched the repository. Now here we need to copy our domain. If we are sending the device token, let's copy some device token from our database. And let's paste it here. And this is the function for sending single notification. And here this is a single notification. Let's send it. You can see that we received the notification on this device because here we are using the single notification function. And now in case for many, we need to pass list of device token. So in this case, here we'll be passing list of device token. This will be our first FCM token, and then let's use one more FCM token. And let's add one more FCM token, this one. Let's send it. Make sure to use list of device token. Here we are getting 2 success. We are getting the notification here and here, both. Let's just change that. This is a group notification. Let's send. You will find that we are receiving the notification. You will be using this /many endpoint and inside the device token you need to pass the list of device token, and the message will contain the title as well as the body. And in this way we can send same notifications to multiple number of users, and this will be very much required for our group notifications. Let's do it. When we create a new group chat, in that case we need to send the notification, but first we need to write the function how we are posting to that endpoint. Let's write a function inside Appwrite controller, send notifications to multiple users at once. It will be a future send notification to multiple users, make it async, use try catch. Here we'll copy the same endpoint like our previous notification function that we have. This one we can simply copy this, only the endpoint will be changing a little bit. So it will be send multiple notification to other user, and here we'll be receiving list of string device token, else everything will be same, only the endpoint will be many. Now we only need to call this function after we are creating the message, but we need to make sure that for all the group members, we need to loop over all the group members for that specific group and get the device token and pass to this function. So let's do that. Here inside group chat page, when we are sending a new group message, in this case we'll be sending a notification, but one thing to make sure that the user who is creating the message will not be sending notification to that user. So for this we need to create list of string tokens, user tokens, and we need to loop over for I is equal to 0, I less than group data dot user data dot length I plus plus. Now we need to keep adding user token dot add group data dot user data for specific index I dot device token, and it may be null, so in that case we'll just add an empty string. And we need to make sure that we are not adding the current user device token to the list. So we can do this thing like if user ID is not equal to our current user, and now we have added all the users token, let's just print user token r $user tokens. We are doing this for saving the pictures. Let's also use this when we are sending a message after this here. So here we need the group data, otherwise it will not work. Let's require to pass group model, group data. Here when we are sending the message, let's just pass the group data. It will be the group data. Also here group data will be the group data. Now we are passing the group data here. Now let's send one more message. Here we are getting users token R. Here we are only getting one token. That's correct, because we have two users and one of the user is the sender and other is the receiver. Then in that case it means it's correct. After we have got the tokens, we can call send notifications to multiple. Here we need to write the title. Since we are sending a message, here the notification title will be received a message. And here we need to pass the group data dot group name. Notification body will be the message. It will be inside message controller dot text. and device token will be the list of device token. It was inside tokens. It was inside users tokens. Let's use it. Now let's see whether it's working or not. Let's try to send a message. Hello members. Now here we are getting the notification like this. Received a message in the group name. We can do more things, like we can provide the sender name or anything if you want. So let's just modify the notification. Here we are getting the current user. We can get the current user name, and similar to this, current user name will be inside get user name. And now after we send the message to the user, here when we call this underscore send message, here the message will be like this: received a message in this group, and here it will be the user current user name and this. Let's try to send the message like this. Here it's showing received message in the group and the name of the user who sent the message like this. Now we can copy this, and when we are sending an image, in that case also, after this we'll be sending this received an image in this group, and this will be current name sent an image. So let's just send an image. Now here we are getting the notification received an image in the group name and the person who sent the group message. So here we have 6 messages on read. After we are reading the 6 messages, here it's showing we don't have any message to read. And one thing is that every time our data gets loaded in our group chat, we need to update the last read messages. Like we are calling this here, it is correct, but we need to also call this, otherwise it will not load the data. Now it's okay. Now let's send a message here, and here it's also not showing, but here it's showing that we have received a message. So now we have successfully created a group, added all the features of a group, and also we need to restart this, otherwise it will not load the changes. Let's just restart and save. Now it's okay. And one more change that we need to do, like inside our chat page, it might happen that we don't have any message. Here it might happen that our get all chats is empty. In that case, instead of proceeding to this messages, we can simply return inside our home.dart if our chat data that we have is empty or not. We are handling get all chats, but we are not handling the chat data. It might be empty. So if chat data is empty, in that case we'll just return sizebox.shrink. Let's format the document. Now one more thing that we are going to be adding, this will be for explore groups. Users will be able to join the groups that are open or they are set to public without an invitation. So let's do that feature. For this we need to have a button, and the button will be here. The button will be very similar to this create new group button. So inside our search users, let's copy the create group button UI like this, and inside our home.dart where we are building the group message UI, here we are having the list type. Here will be wrapping this list view builder with an widget. This will be the expanded widget, and now we need to wrap this with a column widget. And now we can have the list type like this. It's showing create new group, but it will be explore groups. It will be the icon for icons.groups outline. Let's add some padding to it. This is too much. Let's just reduce the padding. Let's make it 4. Now it's okay. If we click on this explore groups, then it should list us all the groups that are open to join, where they don't require invitation for joining. So for this we'll be creating one more page. It will be explore groups.dart. Before that we need to write the function to load all the groups that are open for everyone. List all public groups. Here we'll be returning list of document get public groups. We'll wrap this with try catch. Here we'll create a result variable where we'll use await databases.list document. Database ID will be the DB, collection ID will be the group collection, and then queries will add queries.equal where is public is equal to true, and then we can just print the result.documents.length, and then we'll be returning results.documents, and error will just return an empty list. Now we need to simply call this function, load the data, and display that data to the users. So let's create, here we have created here we'll be creating a stateful widget. It will be explore groups. It will be a scaffold app bar. App bar will be having a title text public groups, and we need to also link this with our main routes. Here explore groups, we pass the context and will redirect them to the explore groups page. So when we click on this button inside our home.dart file, we'll redirect them to explore groups. Let's click here. Now it's taking us to public groups. Here we are going to list all the public groups that are open to join. Inside the scaffold body, we'll be using a future builder. Future will be of get public groups, and inside builder will return context and snapshot if snapshot.connection state is equal to connection state dot waiting. In that case we'll be returning a circular progress indicator in center. Else if snapshot has error, in that case we'll return a sized box, or we can return a text no groups to show. Else we'll return, here we'll be using list view builder. Item count will be inside snapshot dot data dot length. Just add a null check here. Item builder will be returning list type. Title will be text. Snap data dot group name. Let's save it. Now it might happen that we have spelled the attribute wrong. It's group underscore name, so we have just done some spelling mistake. Inside explore groups, this will be underscore group name. Let's try to restart. When we click on explore groups, it's showing us the group For this subtitle, we'll be showing group underscore desk like this, and in our leading we can also have the group image. So for this it will be better if we use this logic only, the circle avatar logic. Inside leading we'll be having this circle avatar logic, and our data will be inside group. The name of the attribute was image, so let's copy this and replace this with this one. Now it's okay, let's save it. Yes, so here it's loading all the public groups. Currently we only have one group. We are going to be creating multiple groups. Now after this subtitle, in our trailing we'll have a text button. We'll have an elevated button, and the child will be the text join group. On press, for now we're not going to do anything. Now it's looking something like this. We have already created a function, so here we'll make this function async and use await add user to the group. Here we need to pass the group ID. The group ID will be inside snapshot data for specific index /$ID, and the current user will be inside provider dot of context listen to false, and this will be a return type of user data provider. When we call get user ID, we are going to get the user ID for the current user, and here, like every function, we are returning either true or false. Then on value, if value is true, we'll be returning scaffold messenger of context dot show snack bar will be our text group joined successfully. Else we don't need to show anything. Let's try to click on this join group. Now we have imported this package. Let's try to find where we have imported. We don't need this package, just remove it. Now let's click on join group. Here it's showing join group successfully. We were already in this group, so let's just create one more group now. Now here in explore groups, it's only showing one group. Let's try to create one more group. Let's create this group. Here we are getting a problem that null check used a null value. So for this we can do one thing. If latest message is equal to null, in that case we'll return no message, else we'll return this. We can add this null check here, and let's try to restart. Now we are also getting the timestamp as null. It means that we have done something wrong with the timestamp. Here also we'll be using the similar logic. If latest message is equal to null. In that case, we'll return a sized box. Else we'll return this text. If there is no message, then we are not going to get any count. Let's try to restart. Now it's okay. Here it's showing no message. And here also we are trying to update when last message is not there. So here we'll be adding the logic if this group message dot length is greater than 0, only in that case we are going to update the last seen message. Now let's restart. In this way we are fixing the errors. Now it's showing one member and only this person is the admin. Let's try to add some pictures. Now here with this account, let's try to explore groups and we can join this group. Here it's showing user joined successfully. Now if we open this, here we have 2 message pending. Now it's showing something like this, and if we want we can also send images or text. And all the changes are happening in real time. Here we are also getting the notification. One thing to note that if we are sending an image, we are also getting the notification when we are sending the image. So it means that our real-time chat application is working and this user cannot modify or change this image, but since this user is the admin, he can delete. So the admin can delete the message if they want. So now in this way we can create multiple number of groups. Like let's make this group as private and create this group. Here we have no message. Let's try to invite this user. Now here we have got the invitation message. Let's try to join this group. Now we have successfully joined this group. And if you want, we can also exit this group. And now if you check here, we only have one member. So now everything is working correct. Now if we edit this, currently if we click on explore groups, it's only showing 2 groups. Here if we click on edit group and change this, here it's already taking us to public, but this will not be the case. This was a private group. Here it's showing it's public, so it's wrong. In case of modify, create or update group, here is public. We are not setting the is public data. So for this we need to also pass the extra data, whether the existing data, whether the group is public or not. So it will be is public, or we can just make it as open. For default, let's make it as true. and we need to make this as late public. Now if we restart this application, here let's try to edit this group. Now we are not passing the data, we need to also pass the data from our group page. When we click on this modify group, here we need to also pass open. This will be inside group data.isPublic. Now let's try to restart our application. Let's try to edit this group. So it will be better that if we pass the whole group data here, and instead of this map string we can simply accept group model, and this will be a group model. Existing data will be inside existing data dot group name. If it's not there, then it will be no name, and it will be inside existing data dot group description. If it's not there, it will be empty string, and whether it's public or not, it will be inside existing data dot isPublic. And also here it will be existing data dot image, also this one, and also this one. Here also it will be dot group ID, and this one will be existing data dot image. Now let's try to restart the application. Let's edit it. Now here it's showing its private group, so here it's not getting listed. Let's make it as public group. On click it's not changing, so here we are not being able to change the group data. So for that reason, instead of doing this in build context, we can either do this in init state or did change dependencies. We can simply do this steps inside did change dependencies, and we are not required to do this here. Now we are able to edit the group. Let's try with this one. Here also, if we try to edit the group, we are now able to change the group. Suppose we want to change this group from private to public. Let's update the group. Now it's okay. If we try to explore the groups, you can find this group and we can join this group. Now we have joined this group. Now we can find that total members are 2, and also all the admin and the members it's listing. Let's try to send some message. Here we are also getting the notification as well as the images that we are sending. Now all the changes are happening in real time. We have integrated the group chats, but one thing to note here the order is not correct, because the last message that we have sent here, it was in 4:55 and here it was 3:37, so the order is not correct. we need to change the order here in our home.dart file. So here, let us sort the timestamp according to descending order. So here every values for groups is inside value.getGroup. So here we are loading all the groups that we are joined. You will have A and B group IDs, and then message A latest timestamp, message B latest timestamp. Both are of same logic, and now we will compare it. Now it's okay if we run this. Now you will find that the latest message is getting at the top and the oldest message is getting at the end. Now if we add some message here, anyone here, this message came at first. Now in case when we are trying to create a new group, here we are getting null is not a subtype of group model, because we need to make this existing data nullable so that if we provide any null value, then it also works. Now let's try to restart. So now we are not having any problem. We have successfully completed our chats application and we have successfully integrated group chat functionality in our chat application. We can also, inside our home.dart file, instead of naming this as chat, let's name it as fast chat. So we have successfully completed our chat application now.